Well, enough of that. Let's carry on with the assembly. Welcome. Now, I did say that you shouldn't be wearing anything too scary, and I hope you're not this morning, but I thought we would get us into the mood for this Halloween weekend. So, just a notice or two from me to start with. The first one are these fences. These fences are there to separate one area from another. They are not a climbing flame. So please, will you make sure that you don't climb on these fences? They simply can't support your weight. Thank you very much. Now, the second thing I think you may have already seen in this morning's notices is it is Halloween, dress-up day, and I hope many of you have taken that opportunity to do so. I look forward to seeing you later. Don't forget, you can do the Guess the Candy, which is on the screen now for the times that you should be in the foyer to make your guess. So, let's move on with a few things from me. I've got a question for you. Where are you at the moment? Now, the reason I ask this is that we are all in a process of change. Some of the changes that we experience can be positive and some are negative. Most of you have at one point or another gone through that change of having to move school and come to ISL. And you probably remember the day that your parents or your guardians came in and told you that you were going to have to leave a place that you knew well to move somewhere else which is full of all of the unknowns. Now, what would have happened is you would have gone through a process of change. Sometimes the changes are happy. Maybe it's you were told that you were going to get to move into your big brother's or sister's room and that you were going to be able to have your own space. Maybe it was a change like that. Now, whichever change you go through, there is a process which happens. And COVID is no different. We are all going through this change. Now, the good thing is, if there is anything good, is lots of people have studied lots of different things about change. And one is shown by this graph, and some of you may have seen this before. It was designed or formulated by two people, Kubler and Ross, and they said that there are distinct changes that occur or phases that occur when we go through a process of change. And it starts there at the beginning with shock. And I think we all experienced that a little bit when we started experiencing for the first time the changes that COVID had on our lives. After the shock comes denial. We want to reduce it in our mind to something which is not so worrisome. So we may be saying things to ourselves such as, it's not such a big problem, it's not going to affect me. But then when we realize that it is going to affect us, then we probably go through our lowest moments and we get extremely angry sometimes, or even a sense of frustration builds in. And this may have been, for example, when we had to wear masks for the first time. It's not something which is pleasant, and we can get angry about it when we're asked to do things that we don't want to do. After that, we work out in our minds and we explore possibilities of what we can do to make the situation better. But we're exploring at this stage. We don't quite know what works and what doesn't. And then finally, we go through acceptance. We say, okay, that's the way things work now, and this is what I'm going to have to live with. Or, hopefully, it's on a more positive note, that changes have occurred, and even if they were scary to start with, they are not any longer. Now, the reason that I talk about that curve is I think it's worth pointing out that it is totally normal to go through these different changes. It would be unusual, in fact, in some cases, impossible, for you not to have dips in emotion. And they affect the way that we interact with the world and how productive we are. But it is normal. But we will go through these stages, and usually in order. Now, what we're experiencing at the moment is what we call a second wave. And in fact, I think what's happening is we're going through this process all over again. We're going through the shocking values of how many people are testing positive at the moment, and that's having an effect on us. But we need to work through this. And what I like about this diagram in particular is you can see the different stages being marked on the curve. Now, the different stages are what we can do and how we can help each other and show care and concern for each other as we go from one stage to another. Now, the stages are broken down slightly differently. The first stage is information. That comes at the beginning. When there is this shock value, often it's because we don't understand the situation properly. And what we have to do is go out and find information. Now, if you see someone else experiencing this shock stage, then you can help them by trying to help them, provide them with information. And that will help them understand what's going on in the world around them. The second stage is support. And this is for people who are feeling at their lowest ebb. Their emotions are going through a negative cycle, usually in that anger and frustration stage. But you can help them as well. If you see people in that stage, you can simply support them by talking to them and identifying those things that they're finding upsetting. The third stage is direction. So as people are starting to come out of feeling frustrated and they're looking for things that can help them, you can help them by helping them, give them direction. You can suggest things to them of things which might make them feel better, or offer support when they are thinking through ideas of ways that they think they can help themselves. And then finally, there's the stage of encouragement. That's at the stage when we have got things which we think work, but we need encouragement to make sure that we are feeling positive about the changes that we are making in our lives. And hopefully we have all been through that stage where we are feeling better about having to live alongside of COVID and actually looking for the good things in life. And what we can do to support those people is to reinforce that by saying, yes, those are good things. And also to say that although things are different, that doesn't mean that they're worse, because it's not. It's not worse. We can make just as many positive parts of our lives in the situation we are in compared to a time when COVID was not with us. So just because things are different does not mean that they are worse. So I'm hoping that having gone through those different stages, that you will understand that it is normal to feel differently when situations change. And one thing I'd like to reinforce from last year that we talked about a little bit more is in terms of encouragement and support, I can't think of anything much better than the idea of thankfulness and gratitude. We spoke last year that when you go through feelings and expressing your gratitude for life and being thankful for the things which are happening, that there are proven links to a long-term increase in your optimism, an overall increase in your well-being, and even things like getting better sleep for those people who express gratitude on a regular basis. The final thing that I've learned recently is that these effects are greater as you get older. That when you are small children, it doesn't have such an effect on the things which we just spoke about. But as you go through adolescence and into adulthood, the expressions of gratitude have a greater and greater positive effect on your lives. Now, gratitude can come in different forms. Sometimes they can be physical expressions. And last year, I remember, and many other teachers remember as well, receiving emails from students who were simply saying, thank you for the time and consideration you put into your classes and showing that you are human. Now, you can do something physical like that, but it doesn't actually need to be something physical, or it doesn't need to be involving someone else. You could write a thankfulness diary, for example, or simply you can sit and reflect and think about those things that you should be grateful for. This is my Outlook calendar. It's not very interesting, But if we look down in the bottom right-hand corner, I have this appointment in my calendar every single week, which comes just after I teach Year 9. And it's thankfulness. I have in my diary half an hour where I deliberately and purposefully set some time aside to either write some notes to people, say thank you to some people, or simply look back on the life that I live and what I can be thankful for. And I think it's something which hopefully increases my optimism, especially at the moment. So, things that I'm thankful for at the moment. These shelves. They are very nice. You've probably seen them. It's where the bags go. And while I'm talking about them, I would just like to say they are shelves. They are not seats. So please reserve them for putting your bags on and not for sitting on them yourselves. The other thing is, which is great, for once, we've got plenty of shelving space for all of the bags. So there really is now no reason why we need to keep bags on the floor. So please make sure, and especially if you're a little bit taller, when you arrive, don't dump it on the floor. You can be the one who can reach up to the higher shelves. Put your bag there. It'll help everybody else who comes afterwards. And then something else which I'm thankful for, which I saw on Facebook recently, is this. I think these are some of the most impressive pumpkins carved I have ever seen. And I was thankful when I got to see it. What I was even more thankful for and impressed by was that these were done by a family at ISL, and that there are 2 students in the middle school who helped create these pumpkins. So I'm saying thank you to you. I won't say your names. And finally from me, it's competition time. You probably remember from the assemblies last year when they were online, we tried to get a few competitions going, and here is the one for this week. So there has been a form which has been sent to you by email from me, which you can fill in with the following. So the timeline will be until the end of Monday. I will send around these pictures as well. But just to get you going, what you've got to be able to do is identify the following teachers. But of course, they're wearing their masks. I'll just give you 20 seconds or so now to have a look at them. How many of these people do you recognize? Okay, that's probably got you talking in various homerooms around. Now, of course, there's always the chance of a possible tie. So we've come up with a bonus question, and here it is. You've got to recognize the following. I need the name of this person-ish. Okay, so there's your competition. I will announce the results in the next assembly. There will be a prize of some sort, which I haven't decided upon yet. So, thank you very much for listening and your time this morning. Have a great Halloween Friday.